Hello, and welcome to week 9 of class, where we'll be talking about esports media. This week, I wanted to give at least a little more structured video for you guys, since it is an essay week, where we'll talk about different types of esports media, how they interact with the industry, and things like that. Obviously, the goal of your essay um, is to talk about how esports media impacts and relates to the overall industry. So we'll talk about some things leading into that. I'll take a look at the prompt, and we'll actually take a look at the assignment posting for you guys. But other than that, we will hop right in. So I'm not gonna like present this because full screen. I got an ultra wide monitor. It'd be weird. Hopefully you guys can see everything as we go through. Um, If not, it is posted on the actual canvas under modules, so you guys would be able to see that. Um, Let me see if I can. Nope, nope, that was awful. Okay, well maybe I actually don't know. Let's see. Yeah, no, that was awful. Okay, esports media. So first, kind of just the intro to esports media, general definition. Esports media is all the platforms, content, or coverage related to esports and competitive gaming. Could be something like a formal journalist's article being written, or something just like a YouTube video of people talking about what's going on. Um, Anything from league level coverage to teams to individual creators, and just Twitter in general a lot of the times. Kind of its evolution. So it's very different than traditional sports coverage, because like traditional sports, you want the latest news. You're just turning on ESPN. Um, there's not truly an ESPN of esports. Like Dexerto will say that they are. Some people call it that. I have it in quotes on this PowerPoint, but that's not true. There's not really that place that you can go turn on and you're getting all the news from all the latest stuff. Just doesn't exist. Most of it happens through social media, streaming, YouTube videos. And by most of it, it's all of it. Next, so we'll cover the different types of media coverage that we'll see. So first, we'll start with the league level itself. So this is going to be official coverage by the people who are hosting the esport, essentially. So some of the official coverage that I'm talking about here would be like the Call of Duty League, or in League of Legends with the LTA. They like Call of Duty League, they'll do weekly match highlights, in-depth content series, desk analysts through the actual broadcasts. They broadcast everything themselves. Have like those little segments in between, where they um, absolutely rip into a player's performance and then they get dropped the next week, kind of thing. So a lot of stuff will happen there, and kind of that's like the first source for all of that stuff is like actually watching their broadcast and the stuff that the CDL themselves put out. Very similar with League of Legends. They've had like different content through the years. Different series have come in and out. Obviously, they have all of their broadcasts. There's another avenue that we'll talk about here in just a little bit, where you might see some of that league coverage, but this is like the official coverage from the leagues themselves. Third party media. So here again, we have Dexerto, which they're like the ESPN of esports. Not really, and they're much more broader than esports too. They'll cover a little bit of everything, just related to gaming. Right? They talk about the different news, have interviews, social content. It's gone back and forth over the years. Sometimes they've been really good with some of their interviews. Other times it's been kind of non-existent and just kind of clickbaity. They're not always the most reliable source either, but it is a place of coverage for esports. And then just some other esports.gg, upcomer.esports, pure news to editorial analysis and drama coverage. Uh, I have these grouped here because they're more like the overall um, bigger entities that have specific reporters or people who will write their things for them. and not it's not necessarily on that individual basis like we'll see a little bit later. Here's like your team level media coverage. So again, esports media encompasses is very broad and would be hard to talk about literally everything that goes into esports media. Another type of it would be like your team content and their strategy. So examples like 100 Thieves and Team Liquid. 100 Thieves, strong lifestyle brand. I mean, you look at their three, I talk about them a lot through all the classes. I think they do a good job, especially when it comes to like their content strategy. They do team vlogs, team house tours, facility tours to get you engaged, different challenge videos, fashion content. Their goal is really to merge esports with pop culture. So they have like dedicated YouTube channels for like 100 Thieves Esports, where they'll bring their actual esports players in to do stuff. Their LA Thieves channel, which is very focused on their Call of Duty team. The broader 100 Thieves umbrella channel that has anyone from their founder to just a content creator that they've picked up, maybe doing stuff with some of their pro players and stuff. So this I would say counts as esports media because it's stuff around the team, really meant to grow the team as a whole. And again, like team and org can be interchangeable because like 100 Thieves is an org, but also a team, but they have multiple teams. That's a really nuanced and confusing thing. So sorry that that term is so interchangeable. Just kind of is how it is in esports. Team Liquid, um, a little similar. They don't lean into content as heavy as say 100 Thieves does, but they have done some like solid documentaries and behind the scenes stuff through the years to kind of cover their teams. And then obviously, every team covers their um like match to match basis through their socials and stuff like that. Again, they might have dedicated Twitter or Instagram channels and stuff for their specific teams, but overall they will have some type of strategy when it comes to their game day content where you do get to see the team side of stuff too. Because in some of the less structured leagues, you don't have as much of a breakdown or focus like you would in a franchise league like Call of Duty. So like 100 Thieves Apex, a lot of that is covered through like their specific results and stories about them and stuff like that would be covered through 100 Thieves rather than through like AP or Apex and stuff. Brand identity through content. So this is where they really do want to like it's the best place for a team to show who they are is through content when it comes to esports. So recurring video series, music, brand colors, influencers within the organizations. So like 100 Thieves, Nate Shot is the founder and one of, if not the biggest streamers that's a part of 100 Thieves, especially now that he's gone more full time content. And then you have like Courage, who is a co owner of 100 Thieves, who is also a content creator, streamer, and stuff for them. So, two really big personalities and influencers who are part of 100 Thieves that kind of everything that they do is attached to and helps uplift what they're doing over there. So, lots of different ways to kind of build, like, hey, this is 100 Thieves kind of thing. Next, we'll go down to individual creators and like pro players and stuff. So, some examples of player driven content, and there's so much of this out there. I think Scump is a really good example of it. So, he's been someone who was a content creator the whole time he was a Call of Duty pro, retired, turned full time creator, daily streams, appears on all the Optic podcasts, appears in some of the vlogs, has done vlogs. But the biggest thing that I would say that really relates to esports and not just like gaming creator is his watch parties that pretty consistently pulls more viewers than the actual CDL broadcast when he's broadcasting. That happens in League of Legends too, right? You have these really big, like former pro players who host these watch parties and add kind of their commentary on everything that really do well for esports. So that's a big way that it's covered. Tins has done some stuff. Big streamer, some aim guides, um, in and out of teams, and have done like content and stuff with them. Just another like I'd say very different example from what Scump does, but is still an example. There's plenty of creators that will watch party or just do content aimed around and within esports specifically, and not just gaming. So down here, we have esports journalists and personalities. So two that I'll point out, Jake Lucky has been a part of a couple different like companies that cover esports, but I would call him mainly an individual creator. If something happens in esports or gaming, odds are you're going to see a Jake Lucky tweet or video about it. So very much that breaking news kind of stuff. We'll cover anything from like controversies, drama, industry moves, players getting dropped, things like that. I think he does a pretty good job of it. Stays pretty unbiased through everything. And if you ever just want to like stay up to date with just esports in general, he's a good one to follow there. Richard Lewis actually was my old professor. He taught an esports ethics course in my master's program. He's definitely more of that investigative journalist, longer form critiques. He's very controversial too. Big thing that he covers is CS. He's That's probably his biggest circle when it comes to what he covers, and did a lot to expose like the match fixing and stuff like that that happens in CS. So he's just another example of that like esports journalist. Obviously, there's tons of these out there, and there's tons of esports channels. Call of Duty Kid, right? So a Call of Duty one is like Tactical Rab. He pretty much covers everything Call of Duty, um, and like player drama, ad drops, rumors, speculation, a whole bunch of stuff. So there's a lot of these out there, and so many for all of your different esports that it's just impossible to say. So I'm giving kind of like broad examples of what these look like. You more than likely know this type of personality or this type of content and stuff in your favorite esport kind of thing, right? Next, let's talk about some challenges in esports media. Big one here, platform dependency, right? Who knows when Twitter is going to blow up? Right? It could happen. It has happened. Will probably continue to happen. And these people who rely on that to get their news out, get doing what they're doing, so they get all their impressions. That sucks because it's all up to the platform. Same thing with YouTube and Twitch. You cover something that they don't like or goes against TOS and you're banned or suspended, and that's how you make your livelihood. It can be tough. In kind of the same vein here, monetization struggles. So not easy to get monetized on these platforms, and the monetization structures aren't always great. So if you're like relying on these things, and then it's where you cover, it's where you're posting your videos, but your channel is not monetized or has been demonetized for something you covered or something along those lines, it could be really tough. Oversaturation and maintaining authenticity. So this is another one that you see a lot, is people like pretend to have inside sources when it comes to roster moves, league updates, things like that, and they just throw whatever out there. You never know what's true. Um, Another thing, it's like oversaturation. There's just so many personalities that are trying to do this thing that it can be tough to like really find that like true source. Like, again, like I said, you could tune into ESPN. That's where all the top sports journalists and stuff are. There's not that common platform in esports. Next is like the divide between competitive coverage versus drama in news culture. There's so much overlap, but also so much divide. Maybe you're someone who just wants to keep up with the league and you follow the league, but it's pretty just cut dry. Or you're someone who like really likes the drama and news aspect of esports. You want to follow that way. There's not like a good mix for esports that really like there's definitely a divide between it and not knowing like, hey, this is maybe legit coverage, or wait, maybe this is like drama or rumor or speculation, stuff like that, and people aren't very clear when they make their posts. uh Opportunities for growth in esports media. So maybe some more niche storytelling, to really like, you want to appeal to your hardcore fans, keep them engaged. If you get some hardcore esports fans to really follow your channel and like the things that you do, they're most likely going to come back. But also, how do you appeal to a casual audience? So doing some stuff like I think the score is who does like the story of, and they'll pick a player or pick a team or something like that and just go through, and it's just like a video essay That's a great way for people to maybe learn a little bit more about what's going on. So you can see some more of that on pretty much every level that we talked about. More regional or game specific coverage. Like I said, outside of the leagues themselves and maybe some former pros or dedicated creators, um, like league coverage can definitely be kind of lacking. Same for game specific. It'd be really cool to see some type of platform or something evolve into that like esports hub in a place that they can be. Another thing, like player development stories and long-term narratives. Talked about that a little bit with niche storytelling. Definitely some overlap there. But the players are what drives esports, and is kind of what you need to be doing. And then just better media literacy and critical reporting. Maybe try to stay away from some of those rumors. I'm not sure, but that's also how you grow. There's a lot of opportunities for growth that also like fall in the challenges, and that's why it can be so challenging to grow these things. That's pretty much all for the overall lecture. Again, I wanted to give you guys some more bullet points, talk specifically about some of them, especially because it's an essay week. Really want you guys to be able to dive in and kind of do what we need to do. But here in general is the essay prompt. Obviously, this is formatted a little bit better on the actual assignment, but this is like what I want to see from you guys. And this actually is listed. Literally, you saw where I was copying and pasted it. It's right there for the prompt. But choose 2 to 3 esports media entities. Different ones, please. Don't choose 2 leagues, 2 teams, 2 journalists, or a player. League, yeah, those teams. Break down their content strategy and media presence. What are they doing well? Where could they improve? In your opinion, what would help esports media grow and evolve over the next 5 years? So when you're breaking down their content strategy, obviously a league is going to be very different than a player, or like a journalist or a team, right? So you're going to want to have a good dedicated paragraph for each of the things that you're breaking down. Um, and then again, answer these questions for each of the team that you do. And then finally, this is kind of where we're wrapping up. And really, the big focus of it is this last sentence here. What would help them grow and evolve over the next 5 years? For this one, you can talk specifically about your examples, but I would also like at least a little bit of commentary on esports media as a whole, kind of as you go through everything. Again, nice formally structured assignment here for something like the essay. Really do put some good effort into this. Dive into esports media because with something that lives on the internet, with esports, media in general is very important kind of as we go through everything. Um, if you guys have any questions, I'm always here to help and to answer those. You can always reach out to me on email or Discord or anything like that. But overall, I hope you have a great week. Thanks.